Hello, Dinesh. How are you doing? Welcome
Hello,
back.
ma'am. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me today.
Thank you. It's my pleasure. Last time we talked when you had just received admission offer from Schulich, and now you have graduated. Congratulations on your
Thank you so
graduation.
much.
So, how does it feel?
It feels good. You are right. So I think we last spoke 2.5 years back, and that's how my MBA journey started. In fact, my first edit of resume, I think you did that in July or August 2018. That's how our journey started, and it's almost 3 years since then. The world is entirely different now compared to how it was couple of years before. But I'm glad that I've finally graduated with my name on Dean's Honors list and finally landing a job in Canada.
Wow, great. Congratulations on being in Dean's honor list and in landing a job soon after graduation. That's an achievement. That's great. So I'm looking forward to a very good conversation. I'm so happy for you. Dinesh, for those who have not seen your first interview, would you like to tell them something about your academic and professional background?
Yeah. I did my undergraduation in information technology. That was long back, almost 10 years back, 12 years back, in fact. So I completed my undergrad in 2009. Though I did my undergrad in information technology, and in fact I also had an offer from Cognizant Technology Solutions, one of the reputed software companies in India. But for personal reasons, I was not able to take up that job because that required me to relocate to a different city. I was not in a position to do that. So instead, I took up a job in hospitality industry. I worked as a business development consultant with Hotel Heritage Residency for 3 years, from 2009 to 2012. Then I appeared for All India Institute of Banking Personnel Selection exam, and I cleared the exam in my first attempt, and I joined Union Bank of India as probationary officer in 2012. So first 2.5 years, I served as the deputy branch manager at one of the retail branches in Delhi. Upon promotion, I was promoted as assistant manager and transferred to regional office Delhi, where I headed government business department. I was in charge of monitoring and implementing the schemes conceived by Government of India to promote entrepreneurship. So again, after 3 years in 2016 December, I was promoted as manager and I was sent to Chennai. In Chennai, again, I headed a department at the regional office. The department I headed was retail deposits and fraud risk management. So after 2 years of my tenure at regional office Chennai, I had a sense of inner feel that my learning at my previous job it has come to an halt. So that's when this idea of MBA came up to me.
True. So you have a unique profile. With a degree in software engineering, you went for hospitality industry, worked there for 3 years, and then worked as a banker in Union Bank of India. So you have come a long way. So Dinesh, as an Indian student for Schulich MBA program, you did your first year in India, first year of MBA in India. Can you tell us something about your MBA experience in India?
Schulich has two campuses, one in Toronto, Canada, and the other in Hyderabad, India. So the students who come from India have this option of choosing the campus for their first year of program. So it depends on case to case basis. In my case, I was married at the time I started my education, and I had my family there in India. So staying in India and doing my first year in India gave me an opportunity to spend one extra year with my family. So I chose MBA in India program. If you see the program that starts in India and the program that starts in Canada, you don't have any difference. In fact, the final MBA degree does not mention anything about that. The curriculum is same. The
Okay.
professors who teach in Canada, they travel to India to teach students there. So
Mhm.
you don't have any difference in terms of program.
Okay.
Though this is given, there are some advantages of starting the program in India, and there are also some disadvantages of starting a program in India. When the professors travel to India to teach students, that is their only job, and they stay there for 15 years until their particular course ends. And once the classes are over, professors are generally free, so you get an opportunity to interact one on one with the professors without any constraint on time, or with the thought that other students might be requiring the time.
Right.
That is one biggest advantage of starting the program in India. Contrarily, on the other side, most of the club activities, networking events, case competitions, they all take place in Canada. So at times, at least when I did my first year, the situation is drastically different now. At least when I did my first year in India, so we were not having that equal opportunity to take part in all these events, because all those events were in-person events which took place in Toronto,
Right.
and we were staying in India, so we were not able to take active part in these events. But I feel the situation has improved now, as everything has gone online. The current India code students are taking part in in all the events that are happening here in Toronto.
Good. So for the second year, you moved to Canada. You moved to Toronto, Canada. And by that time, COVID-19 had already gripped the whole world. So, how was your experience, MBA experience in Canada in the second year?
I came to Canada in September 2020 to start my third term, which is second year in their main campus, Toronto campus. In terms of academics, I would say I did not find a big impact, in fact a big negative impact on my academics. But however, there are one or two other areas like networking, or how I would have interacted with my cohort members or with my professors. So there were some impact on these things.
Right.
Say for example, there was one important networking event for students specializing in finance, and a lot of industry professionals were expected to participate in that event. Because the entire event was online, and the firewall restricted them to participate in those events from their office systems, most of the industry professionals were not able to participate in that event. And when I participated in many job information sessions,
Mm.
there would be a lot of participants, and even if you keep your hands raised, so the chance of getting noticed or the opportunity to speak with the recruiters directly, that was very limited. So
Right.
these are some of the negative fallouts of taking part in things online. But I believe, so I have seen the transformation in the last 1.5 years. Currently I feel the situation has improved a lot, because people have identified the negative impacts of organizing things online, and they have taken measures to address those issues, so things are getting better.
Good. Can you provide us some more details about how the virtual mode of learning pan out for you?
Yeah, so since I came to Canada, my entire second year was completely online. So I took my classes through Zoom only. Mm, but there are again advantages and disadvantages associated with taking classes online. Uh, there were few minor disadvantages. If you ask me, say for example, I took a course on presentation skills. So that course was all about building you as a personality, as a public speaker. During normal times, generally candidates prepare the case and present their findings and recommendations in a very big auditorium full of audience. So but sitting in front of a computer and just presenting this before the computer screen naturally affects the process, right? So those were some of the minor disadvantages that I had. But otherwise, overall, in terms of academics, I didn't find any significant impact negatively. uh, because I also took certain measures to ensure that the experience was equally enriching.
Right.
I generally logged into my virtual Zoom chat room 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the class. So most of the students logged in almost at the time the class started.
Hmm.
And professors generally they open up the room 10 to 15 minutes before the start of the class. So that provided an opportunity for me to interact with my professors one on one. Apart
Right.
from this, the second important aspect was that I always ensured that my video was switched on
Hmm.
during the class hours. and I actively participated and interacted with my professors during the class. So all these things helped me out when I was looking for job opportunities. So when I reached out to one of my professors working in a particular bank to which I applied for a role, I requested him, I'm planning to apply for this role, can you please refer my name? So he immediately recognized my name. He immediately recognized my contributions to the class, and he was happy to help me. So these are small things which students miss out. My observation is that around two-thirds of the students in almost all the courses I attended, they switched off their camera.
I'm so
So
glad you leveraged online learning to your advantage. It's
yeah, so once if someone of the name Dinesh reaches out to me, I must remember his face. Who is Dinesh? So that really helped me.
so, although it seems very insignificant, but this is a valuable tip that when you are attending an online class, you should keep your video on so they can see you. Great.
Right.
And so, what is your favorite thing about the program? Can you name?
Uh, yeah, if you ask me about the favorite aspect of Schulich MBA, I would say two things. The first one is the flexibility of the program. Again, especially for students from India, you have the option to start your first year either at Toronto or in Hyderabad. So
Right.
that is the first thing. And second thing, second important aspect of Schulich MBA program is the quality of the professors they have. So most of these professors are in a very good position in the industry. They work in top positions and they take out time to come and teach to the students.
Mhm.
So you get a good exposure of what's happening in the industry, right? So I would say that each professor acts as a mentor and part of career development center rather than just teaching you academics. So it all ends up with not what they teach you, but how much are you willing to take from them. That is the biggest advantage of Schulich MBA program.
Very good point. Valuable tip. Dinesh, you are going to join your post MBA job in a few days. Do you think your MBA helped you get your desired post MBA job?
I'll be joining as a consultant strategy and business transformation in one of the financial services company in Canada. So when I started my MBA, my intention was to get into corporate banking. So I was working in the commercial banking segment in India. So my aim was to get into the corporate banking. Uh, for few students, the route may be pretty straightforward. Once they complete their MBA, they land their desired job and they continue there. But for few students, the route may be a bit circuitous or convoluted. In my case, corporate banking roles and investment banking roles are some of the coveted roles in the financial services industry.
Right.
And without the local market knowledge or previous work experience in that particular segment, it really becomes difficult to break into that particular segment. So I don't have any past work experience in corporate banking. However, I have gained entry into financial services. So if you ask me whether your MBA has helped you achieve where you wanted to reach, I would say it has certainly helped, but the process in my case is not that straightforward. So MBA has given me relevant connections. I'm speaking to people. I'm trying to understand the industry here and what are the requirements for the corporate banking roles. And once I enter into the industry, these connections will really help me to make the switch over to that corporate banking segment. So it has certainly helped, but not pretty straightforward.
Got it. So that brings me to networking. What are your thoughts about networking under present circumstances?
Networking is the most important thing in MBA, I would say. The mistake that most of the students from India do is that they concentrate too much on academics and miss out on other things. So India is an academics and grade obsessed country, I would say. So students miss out on other things. Networking is equally important as academics. During the normal times, networking generally happens in such a way that candidates reach out to their connections, invite them for a coffee chat, So they get an opportunity to meet their connections face to face. So that's how the relationship was built during normal times. But the virtual setting has made things a little bit complicated. The positive side of that is that you have a lot of time, so you can avoid wasting the time in traveling, right?
Mhm.
But however, when you try to initiate that conversation with your connection, it is very important that we start that in a right way. The mistake that most of the MBA students do is that straight away they text or send an SMS to their connection asking, so can you refer me for this role, so and so role. So generally that does not resonate well with the connections. So what they expect from a student reaching out to them is the enthusiasm to know about the role, to know about the industry, and more importantly, they expect the students to ask about the career path that they have traveled. They'll be happy to share that, and my observation is that people generally love to help in Canada.
Mhm.
So it all depends on, we need to ask them what we need, and second, ask that in a right way. So if we do that, I don't think even under the virtual setting, networking is that difficult. And when you reach out to your connections, if that particular connection is your university's alumni, the response rates are higher.
Great tip. Dinesh, is there anything you would like to change about Schulich program?
One thing that I feel about Schulich is that it has a high concentration of Indian students. So my approximate guess is that it would be at least like 35 to 40%. So for those who prefer to have that kind of diversity where they need representation from 60 countries, 70 countries, I'm not sure to what extent they'll be able to experience that. On the other side, my observation is that there is a huge number of Indian people living in Canada. There is a very big Indian community here, and almost all universities in Canada have a high number of Indian students. So I'm not sure whether this can be changed overnight or pretty quickly. That's not going to happen anytime soon. Not only with Schulich, but for any university in Canada. So
Mhm.
that is one important aspect which not just Schulich, but almost all the universities in Canada have to have in mind. Apart from this, when it comes to specific aspects about Schulich, I feel that the contribution of career development center in building connections and assisting students find a job could be improved. So what I have seen a career development center from close quarters only in the last 1.5 years. So these 2 years have been like completely unusual. Uh, in spite of that, I still believe career development center could play much more active role in helping students establish that right connection,
Mhm.
rather than just reviewing your resume and helping you prepare your cover letter. But finding a job is something beyond that.
Yeah, I understand. And lastly, the most important question, I would say. People often think when they reach 30 years of age, uh, MBA is no longer an option for them. You pursued your MBA after 10 years of work experience at age 33, I guess. So, what insights you would like to share with more experienced candidates?
The first thing is, if a candidate decides to do MBA after 30, that is a very brave decision. So first of all, they should feel proud about that. uh, the fact is that if you are over 30, there is a great chance that you could be among the outliers of your batch. Say for example, in my India cohort batch, which had 55 students when we started in India, only 4 students were above 30, and I was one among those 4.
Oh,
uh, yeah, so the problem with starting late is that you have very limited choices after you graduate. So say for example, a candidate with 2 or 3 years of work experience who decides to do MBA, upon completion of the program could apply for any role without any particular preferences. But whereas the candidates who have 10 years of work experience, they have a lot to lose if they choose the wrong option. There are two possibilities here. One, if such candidates apply for roles which require like 2 or 3 years of work experience, in all likelihood there is a possibility that the recruiters consider this particular candidate overqualified. Contrarily, if you target the roles that require 7 or 8 years of work experience, so the recruiters expect the candidate to have some sort of local work experience or
Hmm.
local market knowledge.
Right.
So if we are not able to prove the transferability of skills directly, so we may be in a trouble.
Hmm.
So the actual fact is that the recruiters in Canada, they are not going to take our 10 years of work experience at its face value.
Right.
In that case, one option that could be possible for such candidates is that if they have say like 9 or 10 years of work experience, they could target roles which require 5 or 6 years of work experience, gain an entry into the industry, build the connection, prove themselves, and then fast track their progress into that particular segment. So that option is always there. And another important aspect about the Canadian job industry is that though you may not get a very high designation, mid or senior level designation at entry, the compensation is actually different. So if a candidate with 10 years of work experience and a candidate with 2 or 3 years of work experience enter the same associate role, the compensation of the candidate with 10 years of work experience will be higher. Though the role is same, he'll be paid higher for his experience. And
Mhm.
there is also a chance that in the progression, the days ahead, the candidate with 10 years of work experience and an MBA could be put on the fast track. So for the candidates with 7 or 8 years of work experience, 10 years of work experience, or 30 plus candidates, they need to be little patient. So my final thoughts to them is that
Mm.
the struggle will be little longer for such a candidates, but 30 plus is not the end of the road or end of the dream. There is always a way open for them. And once they have this 1 or 2 years of local work experience, their previous 9 or 10 years of work experience will become more valuable.
Wonderful. See, this is a precious advice for experienced applicants or for experienced MBAs who are seeking to start their post MBA career in a foreign country. Right.
In fact, when I joined my program, I had the same fear at the back of my mind.
Uh-huh.
Then, after I started my first year, there was too much of emphasis on the work experience. Then, at one point of time, I felt like finding a job would be a cakewalk. But both are my assumptions were wrong. Both those assumptions were wrong.
See, you learned from experience, and people will learn from your experience. This is really a valuable advice. So, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts. Is there anything you think I should have asked?
Yeah, I would also like to stress on one another important thing, that is pursuing additional interests outside of academics. So what companies expect here is a well-rounded personality, not just a candidate who has 7.5 GPA out of 9 and has been meritorious in academics. They just don't want that kind of people, because when we enter a new job role or a new organization, recruiters very well know that we know only 30 to 40% of the job requirements. So all that they look for is an enthusiasm to learn. So they want you to be a quick learner, and they are capable of training you after you enter the organization. One, just provide them with a glimpse of your diversified activities in your profile. So for example, when a behavioral question comes up about leadership, if someone is associated with community service, or say for example cycling, which I was doing when I was in India, if a question comes up on leadership skills, so the candidates will have the flexibility to answer that question with their experiences outside of work,
Okay.
where 80 to 90% of the candidates would explain that leadership skills through their career professional experience, right? So, and more importantly, your additional interests such as cycling or taking part in environmental protection campaigns. So that will also provide an opportunity for the candidates to build their professional network.
Yeah. I remember you were an avid cyclist back in India. Were you able to pursue your interest of cycling here in Canada?
In the last 1 year, most part of the country is under lockdown, and more importantly, I have been looking to purchase a road bike for the past 2 or 3 months, but because of COVID, the entire supply chain is disrupted, and the entire country is out of stock. The 2 or 3 models which I have been looking for in the past 2 3 months, I'm not able to find them anywhere in Canada.
Oh, okay. You will eventually. All right, Dinesh, thank you so much for your time and sharing your experience, your insights. I really appreciate it. It was wonderful chatting with you after 2 years, and I'm sure your insights on online learning, networking, post MBA prospects for experienced candidates, all these insights will be helpful resource for prospective applicants. I wish you good luck with all your professional endeavors, personal and professional endeavors. And good luck. Have a great time. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. It was pleasure talking to you as well, and I'm glad that I could be of help to the students. If anyone needs any help regarding their education, they could reach out to me anytime through my LinkedIn profile.
Of course, thanks for offering it. I'll provide your LinkedIn address. Thank you so much, Dinesh. Have a good
Thank
day.
you. You too.
Thanks.